Welcome to Best Practices and Experiences for Transnational Learning, Integration and Language Learning. This is not just a podcast. It is an exploration of innovative ways to empower migrant children and their families. The AMIF Fund supports the initiative as part of the SCHOOLinHUB project aimed at creating a more welcoming society, proud to protect children's rights, and a more inclusive school as a cultural hub able to lead preschool children with a migrant background in learning a new language. Join us on this exciting journey to discover good practices that create connections between different countries.
Welcome to our podcast, Best Practices and Experiences for Transnational Learning, part of the EU project SCHOOLinHUB. I'm Esther Marie Merz, Head of Communication at Berlin Cosmopolitan School, and I'm excited to be your host today as we explore innovative ideas and real-world practices that shape education across borders. In today's episode, with the title From Arrival to Belonging, Creating Inclusive Learning Spaces, we will focus on a topic that's both timely and vital: migrant integration in early education. Integration is more than just language learning. It's about fostering a true sense of belonging, building supportive environments, and engaging families as active partners in a child's educational journey. Early education lays the groundwork for inclusive, thriving communities, and how we approach it can create lasting impacts. Today, you'll hear from inspiring experts and parents who will share their experiences, challenges, and best practices for welcoming and integrating families from different cultural backgrounds into kindergarten settings. Let's dive in. Our first guest today is Gade Mete, one of the heads of BCS Kindergarten, who brings over 20 years of experience in early childhood education. She has worked both as an educator and in leadership roles in international kindergartens in Istanbul and in Berlin, dedicating her career to supporting families as they transition into new countries, cultures, and education systems. Well, what makes Gade Mete's perspective especially valuable is not just her professional expertise, but her personal experience. Having relocated from Istanbul to Berlin with her family, she understands firsthand the challenges that come with adapting to a new environment, like navigating language barriers, housing issues, cultural differences, and administrative hurdles. This personal journey of Gade Mete has deepened her commitment to creating welcoming, inclusive spaces for both children and parents. Professionally, she has held key roles, including head of kindergarten at Keystone International Schools in Istanbul, where she developed educational programs and led community building initiatives. At BCS Kindergarten, she has supported children's development as a preschool English teacher and previously led English program for multiple kindergartens in Istanbul as head of the English department. Today, Gade Mete will share her insights on building strong, meaningful relationships with families from abroad, a topic close to her heart, both professionally and personally. Welcome to the podcast, dear Gade.
Thank you so much for having me, dear Esther Marie. I'm really excited to be here and to have this opportunity to talk about helping families feel welcome and supported as they settle into a new environment, a new life, basically.
Gade, can you emphasize the importance of getting to know parents before addressing growth areas or challenges?
Throughout the years, I have worked with families from all over the world, helping them adjust to a new country, new culture, and a new education system. I always wanted to make sure both children and parents feel welcome and included in their new environment. As you already said, I also have personally experienced what it means to move to a new country and start from scratch. I relocated from Istanbul to Berlin with my family 6 years ago, which gave me a deeper understanding of the challenges families face. Like many families, we went through language barriers, housing difficulties, as you can imagine in Berlin. It was really hard, cultural differences, or of course, the very famous German bureaucracy. And it wasn't easy. After working with families for many years, I have learned that building a strong relationship with parents is the foundation for everything else. When families move to a new country, they face so many changes, not just in the education system, but in their daily life, culture, and even how they communicate with the educators. At BCS, we understand that parents are navigating a lot, and our goal is to make this transition as smooth as possible for them. How do we do that? By creating a sense of trust and belonging from the very beginning.
Okay, I see it. Yeah. Can you tell me why, like, again, for me to understand it better, why is it such a crucial first step to get to know the parents first?
Because building a strong relationship with parents is very important, especially in an international environment where families come from different backgrounds and different expectations and different experiences. Trust is the key to a good partnership between educators and parents. Actually, it's a key to any partnership. If parents feel welcome, respected, and listened to, then they're more likely to communicate openly with when challenges come up. Also, there are cultural differences which play a big role. What is normal in one country may feel unfamiliar or even sometimes uncomfortable in another country. For example, some parents expect direct feedback from the educators about their child's progress, while others may be used to a more formal relationship. By taking the time to understand the family's background, values, and concerns, we can have conversations that feel supportive and respectful. With early and meaningful interactions, we can build these relationships. We make sure to connect with families before challenges arise, not just when there's a problem. We can create a friendly and open relationship by having small casual conversations, for example, during drop-off or pick-up, schedule meetings to discuss not just the progress, but also how the child is adjusting emotionally and socially. Organize coffee mornings where families can meet the team in a more relaxed setting, connect with other parents, and maybe enjoy a cup of coffee together. When parents see that we genuinely care about their child's well-being, they trust us, they work with us, and they support us in creating the best environment for their child.
That makes so much sense. Can you share, I mean, you talked already about, you told us a few practical tips just in your last answer. Can you share some more with us for educators on how to effectively build these relationships?
Absolutely. I think open communication is one of the most important things. When there's trust and parents feel comfortable talking to us, it makes everything easier. That's why we always encourage parents to reach out before problems come up. When we communicate early, we can find solutions together. Educators can also give parents chances to ask questions about expectations, kindergarten policies, or how things work in the kindergarten. This can be done through regular check-ins, messages, or scheduled meetings, depending on what works best for the family. Another good way to build strong relationship with families is through home visits, which we do shortly before a child starts kindergarten. We meet the families in their own home, and it helps us connect on a personal level and gives us better understanding of the child's world outside of kindergarten. It also shows parents that we really genuinely care about their child's well-being, not just in the kindergarten, but in their overall development. Finally, I can't stress enough the importance of creating a sense of community. When parents have a support system, the whole transition feels a lot easier, and they don't feel like they're going through it alone. That's why we do things like meet and greets before the kindergarten year starts, so families can get to know each other and the team in a relaxed setting, or regular coffee mornings where parents can chat, share their experiences, and support one another. Then there are the bigger events, of course, which bring the people together. For example, we have our International Day, where families set up stands with food, music, and activities from their home countries and their cultures. And it's such a fun way for the kids and the parents to learn about each other's background. We also have the Lantern Festival and the Summerfest at Müggelsee. We have a wonderful, amazing campus in Müggelsee. These are amazing opportunities for families to connect, celebrate traditions, and just enjoy being part of the community. These kinds of events make a huge difference in helping families feel like they truly belong to our kindergarten community.
That was very inspiring. Really, thank you very much for these very incredible, valuable insights.
Thank you so much for having me.
Joining us today in this podcast is someone who brings over a decade of hands-on experience in early childhood education, Michael Habekost. As a valued member of the Berlin Cosmopolitan School kindergarten team for more than 11 years, he has worked in various roles, including group educator, support educator, and coordinator, serving as an essential link between staff and leadership. Since May 2024, he has taken on the role of head kindergarten and preschool, where he is dedicated to fostering inclusive, child-centered learning environments. With a background in education science, specializing in social pedagogy and social management, and recognized as a socio-educational specialist for kindergartens in Berlin, Michael combines academic knowledge with rich practical experience. He also contributed to the Erasmus Plus research project with the title International Child-Centered Curriculum that lasted from 2017 to 2020, focusing on play-based approaches to developing emotional, social, intercultural, and communication skills in young learners. Today we'll discuss how organizing home visits can strengthen connections between educators and families, and explore how cultural events like the Lantern Festival can be powerful tools for promoting inclusivity. Welcome to the podcast, Michael.
Thank you for having me.
You've helped organize home visits in kindergartens. What impact do you think these visits have on families from different cultural backgrounds and their integration process?
Yes, home visits are one part, one start we do for a settling in process in our kindergarten. Settling in process is very, very important for us in order for the child as well as their family to feel comfortable with us and to live or to have a good time with us in the kindergarten. So what we do is we contact the families before they start with us in our kindergarten. And why this is so important is parents or carers have many, many questions regarding settling in and how does it go? How do we approach the whole settling in? Because we as an international school have many families from all over the world who have different cultural backgrounds where a settling in is not simply a settling in like we know it here in Germany. For some, it might be just a drop-off and off to work. For others, they have so many questions. How long is it going to be? And all these questions we can answer during a home visit. Now, while we talk to the parents during a home visit and answer those questions and sort of take away their fears of what it's going to be like, because in the end of the day, it's the most precious thing in the world. We take care of their children. We also get the first sense of what does the child like, what kind of toys does the child play with, what kind of books does the child like to read. We have the chance to step into their safe space at home and take a look at, okay, this child, for example, likes to play with cars. So I, as an educator, have the chance for the first day in kindergarten for the settling in process to have to make sure a lot of cars are available for that child so the child feels more comfortable. In addition to that, it is, of course, always very important that the child feels comfortable. But how does the child feel comfortable? Only when the parents do feel comfortable as well. Yeah. So we talk to the parents. We take the fear of them, and the parents will come to kindergarten with a more relaxed feeling, which they project onto the children. Yeah. So the children are more likely to explore, to leave their parents' laps, to explore the room and maybe even play with other children, explore the toys. Yeah? So this is very, very important in order to have a nice time at the kindergarten for the children, a time they enjoy. Yeah? And especially for families with a background or coming from other cultures, from other countries where such thing as a settling in doesn't exist. It's very important to get on the same page in order for the settling in to succeed.
I can totally see how visiting them at home, the families, is really helping to get started in a good way. But let me ask you this. I mean, it is really helpful to go and visit them for the kids and for the parents to make them feel comfortable. But what do you do with families who don't feel so comfortable, to receive you at their home because they still are not settled in and perhaps the culture doesn't permit like these strangers coming into their home? How do you deal with that?
Mm-hmm. I think it's a very valid question. And of course, we always keep this open. We always give them the choice to say, like, no, we do not feel comfortable with you stepping into our home, and we will respect that. We, of course, can adjust those meetings a little bit, yeah? For example, we can invite them to our kindergarten for a single sort of interview and with the children together for the child already to see the new environment. Or we say, what we've done in the past as well, we say, hey, let's meet at a playground nearby, yeah, on a neutral ground, as long as we have the chance to talk to the family, for the child to see us interacting with their parents, with their carers, and that for the first day, for them to feel more comfortable and say, okay, I know this person, I know this face. I think I will have a good time here.
It's all about connecting and building really a trustful connection. Yeah, I totally get it. And there is another important aspect of integration. It is celebrating cultural traditions. How do events like the Lantern Festival, for example, help promote inclusivity?
Mm-hmm. The Lantern Festival is one of the big celebrations we do in German kindergartens. It has long traditions. Even as a child, remember my good childhood memories, walking on the street with a lantern in my hand. And what's so important about this is that the identity of each human comes from their cultural background and their background of how they grew up. Yeah, so what comes from home? While we encourage everyone to share their culture with us, yeah, in an international background, it's so important and so amazing to have all of this coming together. It is also very important to share our culture and our traditions we have in Germany with the families moving here. Yeah, so. Taking the Lantern Festival as an example, we have multiple things combined. Yeah, so we have a sing-along. Yeah, it's like traditionally there's songs we sing with the families, with the kids beforehand. Even in our music lessons, we practice them during morning circles, and we encourage everyone to sing with us and have a good time because like the children are just joyful walking with their parents and also show some pride in like knowing the lyrics to those songs. Yeah, even if their families don't even know those songs.
It's beautiful to see how you're actually really connecting and through this connection, building up, a stronger community. That's really wonderful. Thank you for these wonderful insights, Michael. Thank you for being here. Continuing our conversation, I'm excited to introduce our next guest, Elo, a parent and parent representative at BCS Primary, who has experienced firsthand the importance of integration. Elo and her family joined BCS in September 2024 when her 8-year-old son started first grade at the Nature Campus. Drawn to BCS Outdoor Learning initiative, they found that the nature-based education concept perfectly aligned with their values, and it has exceeded their expectations. A Berlin native and lawyer by profession, Elo has lived in London, Rome, and Moscow, gaining valuable insights into the challenges of adapting to new cultures. Her international experiences and leadership roles in international companies have shaped her understanding of how to build connections across diverse backgrounds. As a parent representative, she's been instrumental in fostering community through initiatives like Time Detectives and international picnics, creating opportunities for cultural exchange and dialogue. Today, Elo will share her insights on building relationships with families from abroad and how inclusion is an ongoing process of meaningful connection. Welcome to the podcast, Elo.
Hello, thank you for having me.
You have a powerful story about the fall of the Berlin Wall and how it inspired deeper connections between parents from different backgrounds. Can you share that experience with us, please?
Yes, thank you. That's right. We as parent representatives and also together with the teachers were thinking about opportunities for the families to get to know Germany and its history and its culture. And due to this anniversary that we had last autumn, 35 years of the fall of the Berlin Wall, it was a wonderful occasion for a very positive event in German history. And this was really a strong feature also for us to draw attention to, because this peaceful revolution is really something that is unifying also within Germany. So it's even more a signal also for Europe, but also for the whole world, that it's possible to overcome boundaries. And if I continue out of a personal experience, and we found out that in our community there were many personal experiences and stories around this fall of the wall. So we had this idea among the parents and together also with the teachers to find an occasion where we have a very positive event in the German history and where it makes total sense because it is representative for a broader development in Europe. And this was the 35th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. And what we thought is there are so many families with their stories within our community that we would like to be shared and make it also tangible for the children to experience. So we found out about wonderful stories and developed a concept where the children can meet eyewitnesses. And it was really an international approach because there were even connections to Denmark, to the UK, where people had connection to this specific event. And we found that, or our idea was that for the children, be it German children or children from different countries, it would be wonderful to learn about the culture and history of the country where we are in right now. And this format, it's called Time Detectives, and it's really a playful approach for the children to meet among the children, and they can find out about the history. And by this, we even strengthening the community among the children. And the children come home and tell their parents about what they found out about the German history. So they can be teachers to their parents, even though they might be older, but they might not know so much about the German history. And I think that's also important to have these family bonds so the children can feel empowered in the new country. So this was really, for me, one of the key issues.
That sounds like a great initiative that you did there.
Yeah, and we thought that it's a two-way development, because by this the children feel more at home here, and they can lead their parents also and let their parents view the country through their eyes. And I think that's really important that it's happening on a human level, because you can teach so much about history and about the relevant events and in what order they happen, but it has to be an experience. And I think because we were able to implement it for the children as an experience, then this can convey also to the parents.
Totally. Especially since history is built on humans. Yeah, we are building the history, so it totally makes sense. Yeah. What do you think is the key to making families from abroad feel included in culture and historical events?
I think it's actually like with children, it's about curiosity, to make the families curious about the culture and the history of our country. So it's an invitation, and the invitation should be via low threshold opportunities where people can just come and first maybe even in a passive role just be part of it, and then step by step you find ways to overcome maybe some boundaries, because it takes courage also to step out and ask questions what you don't know. And if we as German community here, or native, it doesn't have to be German, people who have lived here in Berlin longer, open up and give opportunities for them to join, then this is a possibility to get the people into the willingness and preparedness to meet really on a human level. So I think with these international picnics, for example, it's a way where they can present their cultural background, they can bring some food from their countries, they can explain and come into a conversation. And now, last time, it was actually last Friday, we offered also a bowling event, and via this activities, it's possible to get into a conversation. So I think it's really important to have joint experiences.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like sharing stories, you know, we can identify even sometimes, but we may come from totally different parts of the world, but we might have a similar story, you know, that we share, and that's where we are bonding then, even if we come from different cultures. Yeah. So story sharing is something I think is very important also here.
And I think what is also a very good approach is to find commonalities. We had this one event when we had the parent evening, and then we had like an exercise as a door opener where we sat at tables with people who we didn't even know. And then the task was, let's find commonalities. So not talk about diversity in the way that everyone is different, but more starting with this where we are all the same humans with interest, with humor, with some things we like, we don't like, and then all of a sudden you have connection with a person that you didn't even know, and it's creating these bonds between people and similarities which make us feel at home.
It unifies us. At the end of the day, it makes us like one group, you know, even though we might think we are different, but we're not at the end of the day. So thank you, Elo, so much for sharing your inspiring experience. And thank you, Elo, for being with us and being part of this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
As we come to the final part of this episode of our podcast, we are pleased to welcome Katharina Ehrenfried, who played a key role in establishing International Day in kindergartens. Let me introduce you a little bit and tell you about Katharina. Katharina is a visionary educator, cultural scientist, and leader in early childhood education. With over 2 decades of experience in pedagogical innovation, organizational development, and international project management, she is dedicated to creating inclusive, diversity-sensitive learning environments. She's the head of Nature Campus of the Berlin Cosmopolitan School, where she leads the development of a groundbreaking extracurricular campus focused on sustainability and global citizenship. She also directs the Cosmo Academy, specializing in diversity-sensitive training for educators and family professionals. Katharina's expertise spans from spearheading Erasmus Plus projects across Europe to authoring influential works like Respect and Free to Be Me, which reflect her commitment to empowering children and their families. A true thought leader in education, Katharina combines academic rigor with practical insights to inspire transformative learning experiences. Welcome, Katharina.
Thank you so much. Asa Marie, was a wonderful introduction.
Okay, Katharina, International Day has become a significant event in many kindergartens. Can you tell us about its origin and why it's so impactful?
Yes, so for me, International Day in our institution stemmed from me speaking with a child. We had one child coming to our kindergarten, and the child unfortunately developed social anxiety. It was a 4 or 5-year-old child, was with us and couldn't speak the language of instruction. And then half a year in, the child could express themselves. And I thought, okay, now I go and speak with the child and find out what is the pedagogical intervention would really help this child, and then we amplify it and everybody does it, and then we can support so many children here. So I went down and said, oh, so what helped you when you felt so lonely and so sad and so anxious in our kindergarten? And the child came up, smiled and said, listen, Katharina, the most important moment of my day was when this other parent came to pick up their child, and she smiled at me and spoke in my first language with me, and I could answer her back in a full sentence, and I could make a joke, and we were both laughing, and that's when I felt home the most. And that was for me the moment where I thought, okay, how can I organize that all children in this kindergarten know who speaks the same language than they're at home, who on the playground, with whom, if I don't know how something is expressed, where can I go to whom can I turn to then speak in my first language and express myself. Also for teachers, maybe they have a moment with a child and they cannot get through. Who can they speak to? Who's the other child who can translate? Who's the other parent? Who's the other teacher who can translate? So this is where we thought, okay, it's very important to have this one time. So we have it in the beginning of the year, not at the very beginning, but 4 weeks into the school year, we have this international day and organize an international day.
That sounds lovely. That sounds really, very inspiring. Can you share a story about how a child overcame fear through a connection and belonging? Do you have any little story that you want to share with us? So
we had a child changing from another kindergarten to our kindergarten. And the child said, I celebrate this and this festivity at home. But in the other kindergarten, I was the only one celebrating it, and it was so embarrassing for me, and I didn't want to stand out. But now, here I see everybody is celebrating different festivities or eating different foods at home and sharing foods and having different languages. And here I know it, so I feel safe bringing in my own festivity from home, and I want to celebrate it with you.
I mean, could we say that they're even proud to present their festivities, their cultures, and share it with us? So they are strengthening also from inside their culture.
Sure, it's also the role of the teachers. We have teachers, for example, who on Diwali are wearing a sari because the parents are bringing it in. The children are dressing in different colors. They say the Germans have only 3 colors: black, blue, and gray. So sometimes our kindergarten, not the children, but the adults, but sometimes our kindergarten is full of colors, and it comes from all the different colors the families, the children bring in and share with us. So it's enriching for all of us to talk and to celebrate, and every day is worth celebrating.
I mean, now we were looking from the perspective of the youngsters who comes, from a different culture and sharing it. My question would be now, do you have any story or anecdote you can share where someone who comes from Germany perhaps receives this information from this other child and says, wow, this is great, I learned something? Do you have any story you can share there where you received this kind of feedback,
So we have children, for example, who learn. We have 2 languages, 2 main languages of instruction in primary school and kindergarten, which is English and German. But we have children who speak a third language. And this is because in break, they all come together and they start speaking a third language, and this is where they learn, for example, some things. We also have, there are cultures who have beautiful mantras and beautiful breathing activities, and it comes so natural to feel and to connect body and mind. So we start our day with mindfulness activities, but it sometimes comes harder for people who have been socialized in Western civilizations. But we have children who really embrace it and feel it naturally and can dive in and show the others, and then it feels more natural. And that also, we talk about mindfulness and relaxing the brain in stressful situations. So we can take everything we have, bring it in and make it our own mix. So we as a class, together with the students and the children and the educator, feel that it's our mix, it's our diverse mix of education we want to follow, or class culture.
That sounds really inspiring. If I was an educator, I would really say we all need an international day at our school, because it's not only like sharing, and bonding, but it's also like having a little trip, to a different culture, a little country, by sharing food and culture, etc.
I want to also say, Isamarie, then sometimes parents come and say, hey, we have been living for the last 10 years there in this and that country, but we were born somewhere else. Can we still, our child would really love us to be the ambassador for this table or this country, but we are not born there. And I said, it's transnational identity is where you feel at home at this moment in time, or where you want to celebrate. We often should say, if parents are separating, it's a forbidden question to ask, who do you like better, mom or dad? But what gives us the allowance to ask, where do you feel more that you belong? Are you German? Are you English? Are you Spanish? Are you Turkish? Are you Greek? Are you Polish? So the child does not have, we don't have to decide. It can be, it is part of our personality, of this transnational identity.
I mean, at the end of the day, we are all citizens of this world, and there's one common line. We are all human beings, and so this is what's uniting us at the end of the day. So, Katharina, I would like to thank you very much for your very precious insights, and thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
As we wrap up today's discussion, let's highlight some key takeaways. Building trust with parents is essential before addressing challenges. Home visits and cultural events like the Lantern Festival strengthen community bonds. Involving families from abroad with different cultural backgrounds in historical and cultural traditions fosters deeper connections. Initiatives like International Day create safe spaces for children to build confidence and friendships. Before we go, I'd love to hear from each of our guests. What is one piece of advice you'd give educators working with families from abroad?
I would say communication is key. Keep the communication open and welcoming.
I would say that educators should always have an open mind to be sensitive about cultural differences. Yeah, every family has a different background, so asking questions is essential to understand what does this family like, where do they come from, in order to present them with a nice environment.
I think it's really important to create a common identity. So find something that you can all agree to and find yourself into a broader context, and then creating a new identity.
Be a lifelong learner. Stay curious. Ask questions. Make mistakes. Apologize. Adapt. Be flexible. And then ask another question. And make it, stay there. We are all, in the end, we're all working on one common goal, which is, for me, world peace. So we cannot give up. We have to ask the next question.
And finally, for schools and educators who may not have extensive resources, how can they implement these practices on a limited budget?
A smile doesn't cost anything, so just smile and be welcoming.
Taking the Lantern Festival, for example, what we have been doing in the past few years is to tell the parents it's not necessary to buy everything new. Of course, you can buy them in the shop, but isn't it more fun to craft your lanterns yourself? You have the pride of the own, the own craft, and you can collect sticks from nature and have them holding your lantern. You can use bicycle lights instead of buy new lights from the shop. Yeah, so something you already have, you can perfectly find use for your lanterns.
I think really draw on the engagement level of the people involved, find ways to integrate parent expertise. Maybe they can come as expertise teachers, or they can be part of a project. I think engagement is the key.
There is one thing which is also always in early years, singing, music, dancing. That's an international language, and this is something you can always do without a budget. You can also, you can use your body as percussion. You don't even have to speak the same language to dance together or make music together.
This has been such an insightful conversation. A huge thank you to our guests for sharing their experiences and to our listeners for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to share it with your community. And until next time, let's continue building inclusive and supportive learning environments. Goodbye.
Thank you for sharing your precious time with us. Keep in touch and follow the updates on the website www.SCHOOLinHUBproject.eu. Stay tuned and help us with your suggestions to build a more inclusive society.